Hello guys, Tavek Motors here. On today's video, we are going to install an oil catch can on a Mini Cooper. Follow me.
Perfect.
Here's the catch can that I ordered from Amazon. It's inexpensive, but it is very good. Now it comes with these tools, this and the tube that you're going to use. I'm going to use the bigger one because I prefer to have the most airflow. And here's the catch can itself. When you get it out of the plastic, it's very windy here, so you guys, you have to forgive me. And also, in addition to that, I will need a few other things. I want to replace this hose because I find it very cheap, so I prefer to have a good PCV hose. So this one, I'm going to put a link on the description for all of these. So I purchased 2 sets just in case if I need, a long hose. I also need a few clamps and these couplers, I would say, right here, so that I can extend if needed. I may not use everything that you see here, but these are just the tools that I will need. This is for the N14 motor. Now, this is a baffle oil catch can. Let me take it out of the plastic. And as you can see, it is pretty well made. It is aluminum, and this one right here is the breather that can go on the top here. So if I decide to mount this, I can actually do that. So let me mount all the things and I will show you a little features about this specific oil catch can. It's very inexpensive, and if you have a Mini Cooper, you definitely need one of these ones. I finished mounting everything. So I had this bracket in my house. I just decided to use it, and these were the provided screws. And as you can see, this is the dipstick, so you can see how much oil level is in the system. And I use the bigger pipes. I put some O-ring here that come included with the kit. So if I open this right now, it also has this O-ring already pre-installed. And this is the baffle part. So what this one does, it prevents the oil to go back in here so that it can go on the out back to your turbo. So let me go ahead and put everything together. Here's kind of somehow this is going to look like. Now I'm still debating if I need to use the breather, but if I do, this is where the breather goes. So you pretty much remove this screw right here and mount the breather instead. The reason we actually installed the oil catch can on the Mini Cooper, especially the N14 engine, is the fact that this car is notorious for having carbon buildup. Now, this is how the vapor comes. It comes out here and go back in this tube and back to the turbo and the intake. So as you can see right now, that can cause a problem by clogging your intake and making that carbon deposit. So what people do is that they install the oil catch can in here so that it will catch all the oil vapor and then prevent it from going back into the system. Now that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove this mount and then mount it here on the side and put my oil catch can right here. To remove this sensor, pretty much what you do is it is held like this. It is held like this, and what you do is you just pinch here and then remove it. After that, you simply lift this and it comes out like that. So this is how it goes back in, so you just lift this and remove it like that. And finally, you just remove the screw. Once the screw is out, this is pretty much it. You just remove the screw like that, and once it's out, I'm going to reuse this with my bracket. So the reason I have the bracket that has 2 is because I'm expecting it to place it somehow this way, and then having the sensor on this end and the screw securing to this one on this end. I modified the bracket in 2 because the bracket was too long and it was hitting this piece right here. So I folded it and then I used the screw that came with this sensor right here. So since this area was where the sensor was mounted, I used that same screw here. Now I'm going to mount the sensor on this area using a different screw that I'm just going to find. And now for the catch can, this is the output and this is the input. Now the input pretty much comes from here. So you mount that hose going there, and then the output will go from here all the way to here. So when you see, it's going to eliminate this hose, and I'm going to have one hose going that direction and output coming back to here. After that, I mount the sensor in here, and the job is done. I just go ahead and test drive. I call it a day. So let's go ahead and do that right now. The next thing we need to do is to pretty much remove this hose. Now you have an adapter here and an adapter here that fits to the intake manifold here. Now let's just go ahead and remove the hose. It's not going to be easy because this probably has never been removed. Okay, remove that with the connector. Go ahead and use a screwdriver to kind of help you remove this part right here. I'm sure if you can see that. As you can see, if I take my finger and I put in there, you can see all the oil. This is normally what was coming out of there and then going back into the system, though this is what we are trying to prevent. So this can is going to catch all that oil in here, and then the air that is going back in here is going to be pretty much clean. As you can see here, I have a different intake right now. It's the same day. What happened is that I received my CTS cold air intake. So since I was already working on the car, I decided to just go ahead and install this one. That's how the intake looks like. So normally if you install the old catch can and you have your regular hose, which is this one, you pretty much cut here and then use the coupler that I provided, mount one on this end and the other one on that end going in here. Now, but because I have the aftermarket CTS intake, I don't really have to do that. You see I mounted the oil catch can right here. So pretty much this hose is supposed to go right here and this hose is supposed to go right here. But because this is too long, I have to kind of measure, make sure that, you know, the amount that I'm putting here is enough for that. So when I look here, probably about this much. It's always good to have extra instead of having, you know, a small hose. So around maybe right there, it's where I need to cut it. So let me go ahead and cut this end, do this part, mount everything, and then show you how it is done. Then after that, I'm going to do this part because this is the part that it's a little challenging for me. As you can see here, I'm done installing the oil catch can. So this is the input. It's coming out of here. I need one more clamp to put here. I've only bought 5, so I need a few more. Since this one was a little looser, I prefer to put the clamp on this end. This is a little tight, but later time I will have to revisit to put one more clamp right here. So you have the coupler and this hose. All these hose, it's kind of skinny right now, but this is normally how it looks. Once I started the engine, air goes through, it's gonna get bigger like this. So it's going there, then it's gonna come out this way. And as you can see, I use the other coupler here and it's going directly to the intake, cleaner air. So now let me go ahead and mount the hood sensor that was here and then I'll call it a day. As you can see, I am done now working. So I went ahead and mounted this sensor right here on the other side. Like I mentioned, it's not totally secure because the screw that I found is not the best, but it would do the job. Everything is always closed here. So this is everything when everything is installed, and I'm happy with the end result. Let me go ahead and start the car, make sure there is no error code on the dash, and you know, everything will be good after that. Alright guys, so after I turned on the engine, there were no error on the dashboard, so that's a good sign. So let me go ahead and test drive it. I'm not going to film, and then see you on the next video. Thank you for watching as always, and then stay blessed.